Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us on SA Today. Let's continue to dissect the president's speech, of course, and he made a number of announcements last night, more so in relation to the education system. Amongst those, the president announced that his government will migrate the early childhood education centers from the Department of Social Development to the Basic Education Department. This year, the president said there will be 2 years of compulsory ECD for all children before they enter grade 1. He's also said over the next 6 years, the government will provide every school child in South Africa with digital workbooks and textbooks on a tablet device. We take this discussion further now, look into the announcements by the president with Professor Percy Sepeng. Prof is an education expert from the Tshwane University of Technology and he joins me now via Skype. Prof, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. Your overall impression on the State of the Nation address, most importantly looking on the education sector.
Good afternoon, Palesa, and then the viewers. I think the president tried as much as he possibly could in terms of covering all aspects of education. But to maybe note, for me, I think what stood out was the issue of 2 years of compulsory ECD for our little ones. I think we should take into cognizance the fact that ECD, or perhaps rather preschooling, it's most important or the fundamental area or section of basic schooling, because if we get that one wrong, we won't be able to perhaps have a way to have students coming to grade R and then grade 1 up to grade 12 with necessary appropriate knowledge and then basic skills to make them to succeed. But then also the president tried to cover as much as possible the issue or the notion of fee-free education, at our universities, where we're witnessing at universities that, such financial schemes are really, really benefiting our students, especially those that are coming from, previously marginalized or disadvantaged areas. But then also one of the things that I think will benefit higher education and training most will be the issue of expanding the size and the shape of accommodation or residence of our students. Because one of the things that we're looking at higher education is the notion or the issue of safety of our students, especially those that live in the townships with the so-called non-accredited residences of the universities. So I think the other issue was the issue of, proper sanitation at schools. We should remember that most of our rural education facilities or schools, they lack proper sanitation. And then without proper sanitation, obviously, this might, result in or compromising the safety of our students or learners, especially in primary schools. So the president, in his SONA speech, having said that almost 4,000 schools have been covered as far as improving their sanitation, I think that's an achievement for the government, but then in particular, our Minister Njimetsecha, in terms of looking in that particular area, which forms part of academics as well.
Now, he also said over the next 6 years, the government will provide every school child in South Africa with digital workbooks and textbooks on a tablet device.
Yeah, Palesa, we're now moving into, moving away from the issue of chalk and talk or using, chalk or whiteboards, because we now, encountering a situation where we're dealing with students or learners, especially in primary schools now, where they carry tablets, and then also smartphones from home. So one of those, missions or key strategic elements of the National Development Plan 2030 vision to say we need to make sure that we move towards what we call fourth industrial revolution, where we will be, working with paperless kind of teaching and learning in our schools. And then some of the schools in Gauteng, under MEC Panyeza Lusufi, we witness the benefits of using digital kind of teaching and learning material or learning and teaching material in those particular schools. So I think the president is right to say that we need to also benchmark with other countries because other countries have seen and realized the fourth industrial revolution, I think, 10 years or so ago. And I think South Africa is left behind. And then research also demonstrates the benefits of having, a technology kind of oriented teaching and learning strategies in schools. And then I think if the government can really get some budget in funding such a IT project, I think we will be getting somewhere. If you look at the universities right now, we also striving towards working towards paperless kind of teaching and learning in offering our programs. And one of those, in terms of an example, is the Blackboard, which forms part of what I call a learning platform where students are encouraged to, use all the material that we upload online in terms of, getting, extra kind of learner or student, support in terms of the academics. Right. So I thought yesterday that the president was right in terms of, going this route. What we hope as academics and teachers is that this shouldn't be just one of those talks. But then we need action in terms of this. But then also, once you get this, something that he didn't cover was the issue of how is he going to secure this kind of initiative, because we know that in schools, safety is one of those things that really the country is struggling with.
Prof, yes, I wanted to talk about the transformation of public schools into technical high schools, but time constraints, I believe, will make a day to talk about these issues, of course, and also the introduction of new technology subjects. But for now, we'll leave it at this. Thank you so much for coming through.